Yo, these are the most frequently asked questions I get about heat presses. What's happening, everybody? Boy Big Brando, and today we're going to be talking all about heat presses and basically answering all of your questions that you guys ask me all the time. Now, the very first question, and it's the main question, it's what's the best heat press out there? This is a very loaded question and there's no real answer to this. The best heat press is the heat press that fits your budget. There's so many people out there that are willing to buy outside of their budget because they heard somebody on YouTube talking about a certain heat press, or they show a certain heat press and they feel they need that. If that's your mentality, stop it now. Buy whatever fits your budget. With these heat presses, you can always upgrade later. Sometimes you don't even need to upgrade because the press that you buy does everything you need it to. And in my experience, as long as you're getting money, that heat press is working. I view these heat presses like cars. Is a Mercedes better than a BMW? Is a Honda better than a Toyota? Is a Bentley better than a Rolls Royce? All of these cars will get you from point A to point B. They all come from different price points. And when you buy a car, you buy within your budget because they all do the same exact thing. Some people buy based on status. I want this because of this name brand. Some people buy based on reliability. And some people buy based on quality and longevity of a certain company. So there's no best, it's all personal preference. And before anybody asks, you're gonna be like, oh man, he's only saying that because he's biased to Heat Press Nation or the presses that he shows in his videos. In this shop right here, I have Geonite presses. I have Hottronics presses. I own them all. So I'd be the first one to tell you that there's no best out of all of them. It all comes down to what fits your budget, what you can afford, and what you plan on using it for. That's all. All right, now the next question that I get all the time is, hey, since you have all these heat presses, what do you plug them into? Because I read somewhere you're not supposed to use surge protectors. I read somewhere that you're supposed to bump up the ampage and the wattage in your household. I read somewhere you're only supposed to have one press plugged into each outlet. All of this information is pretty valid. For myself, this is what I use. I use this Trip Light ISO bar. You can find these on Amazon right here. They come in like 4, 6, 8, 10 different sizes. You can find it on Amazon. This surge protector right here, I keep 3 heat presses plugged in at the same time. I do not run all 3 heat presses at the same time while it's on here. Like, I don't have them all powered on, but this is what I use. So let's say that I have my 15x15 on and then I turn on my cat press. That right there could potentially blow the circuit and make its way to my breaker box, but this right here saves it. So if I have the 15x15 on and by accident, or I'm not thinking, and I turn on the cat press so I can start pressing neck labels in, this right here will catch it before it makes its way to the breaker box. I just hit the reset button, turn the presses off, and then I'm good to go if I just turn back on the cat press. So this right here eliminates anything going to the breaker box and actually shorting anything out. This is my lifesaver when it comes to the presses, any equipment in this shop. I plug in the embroidery machine into this. I plug in heat guns into this. I plug in everything to this. And like I said, I have 3 presses on each table. There's 6 presses total that are plugged into 2 of these things right here. And that's how we run everything. I haven't had any issues. These things right here are game changers for myself. Do you have to use this? No. If you know of a better one, cool. This is the one that I use though. Now, next thing is, are heat presses safe for your house? Yes, they are. These things are made to be plugged into your regular outlet and you can start pressing. Does everybody have multiple presses inside their homes? No, but you do have toasters, you do have hair dryers, you do have microwaves. Anything that's generating heat sucks up a lot of power. So I wouldn't be running your hair dryer and your heat press and the toaster oven all at the same exact time, because that could blow a circuit. Who knows? I'm not an electrician, but I will say I am mindful when I do press at home, because I have presses at my house, on what's going on. If somebody's using the air fryer, or if somebody's blow drying their hair or straightening iron or something like that, I'm very mindful of those things. Same thing like in your kitchen. You're not going to be running the toaster and the microwave and the air fryer and the coffee maker and all these things all at once. So be mindful when you're using your heat press. There you have it. Now, next thing is, what table do you use to hold up your heat press? I use The workbenches found at Sam's Club, Lowe's, Home Depot, Costco, they all have the same 6-foot workbenches. I use the adjustable ones because sometimes I want to lower it or make it higher depending on the heat press and depending on who's using it. In my shop, I have them set where everybody that works in this shop can actually reach the heat press handle. They're sturdy, they're robust, they're super heavy. If you wanted to see the price on those, where I get them from, what they look like, I have videos on my Instagram showing myself in Sam's Club, what they look like, the tag, the box, all that good stuff is on there for you. But all you have to do is Google search workbench. The ones I use, those things weigh a lot, but they also handle a lot. I have 3 heat presses on them. I have a cap press, I have a 16x20 and a 15x15 on there. I also have them where I fold my t-shirts. I also have them around my embroidery machine. They're all over my shop. Those tables right there, because they're adjustable and because they're robust, perfect for my own needs. Do you have to use those same exact tables? No, you do not. But if you wanted to look them up, just look up workbench. A lot of different options pop up. Find one that fits your workspace. Go from there. Now, next thing is, this is a pretty fun question that I always get, and people all say, if you had a budget of $3,000, which heat press would you buy? And usually I answer like this. I would invest in Heatpress Nation's Signature Pro heat press or the Heatpress Nation True Spec heat press, and the other $2,000 or $1,500 that you have left over, I would buy blank t-shirts and transfers. I wouldn't spend that whole budget on one heat press. I would buy the heat press and make sure I could buy blank t-shirts and transfers so I could get to the money faster. That's always somebody's question. They always want to know, all right, if you had $1,000, what would you spend it on? And then I'd be like, I'd buy Heatpress Nation Signature Pro heat press, and then I'd buy blank t-shirts. It's always about getting to the money. It's not about the equipment. It's about getting to the money to pay off the equipment. Just because you get the heat press doesn't mean money just flows in. When you get the heat press, it's a tool used to make money. So remember, you have to focus on how are you going to be paying off this equipment? How are you going to get to the money the quickest? Just because you're buying the biggest, baddest heat press name brand thing out there doesn't mean money's just going to roll in. You have to remember, you got to pay this thing off. You have to think smart and make really, really good business decisions, or you're just gonna be broke and in debt. And that's not the goal here. The goal is to make money and better your situation. So if your budget is $3,000, don't just think I'm buying a press for $3,000 so I could get to this money. No, you still need to buy blank t-shirts. You still need to buy vinyl or transfers or whatever you're using so you could get to the money faster, all right? So if you're asking me, whatever your budget is, I would look into Heatpress Nation Signature Series heat presses or the Heatpress Nation True Spec heat press. These have slide out drawers, they have auto open features, and they are workhorses. If you ever looked at my channel when I very first got onto YouTube, the press that I show is the Heatpress Nation Signature Series heat press. I've had that press before I even got onto YouTube, and I still have it here in this shop, and it's still used in this shop till this day. Longevity, reliability, durability, quality, that thing works. So if you're thinking about getting a heat press, buy into any company that you feel comfortable with that's gonna back their heat presses in case something happens. I've had my Signature Series forever, no issues whatsoever. I've never had to call customer service. I've never had to say, hey, can you guys fix this or this is happening? Never, not ever. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about buying your heat press. Now, the last question is, what size heat press should I get? Size of the heat press does not determine how good that heat press is. A lot of people think I need to get a 16x20 because 16x20 bigger than 15x15, it's gotta be better. Not necessarily. Just because the press is bigger doesn't mean it performs better. The press size only dictates your design size. That's all. So if you're getting a 15x15, the design size is going to be limited to anything under 15 inches by 15 inches. If you really think about your designs, none of my designs go bigger than 12 to 13 inches wide. None of them do. This design right here, I think is 11 inches across. And look at how it lands on my shirt. That's 11 inches across right there. Nipple to nipple, 11 inches. These are my nipples right here where I'm touching. That's where the design lands, right? This is 11 inches across. So 15x15 can knock this out all day long. It's not even needed to put it onto a 16 by 20. For myself, it all depends on what you plan on designing, like what you think your designs are gonna be. If you feel you're gonna be designing bigger, then get the 16 by 20. And a lot of people think, well, I'm just gonna get a 16 by 20 just in case I do bigger designs and I don't wanna get caught off and be limited. That's not the case, because there are downsides to having a 16 by 20. One of them is doing hoodies and small t-shirts. So if you're doing hoodies, that little pouch, the kangaroo pocket that's in the front of any hoodie, from the collar to that pocket is about 14, 15 inches. So if you put that on a 16 by 20, you're gonna be pressing on 5 inches of that kangaroo pocket, which is gonna create a little indentation and kind of like crease up if you're doing heavy pressure on a hoodie. So that right there alone is a bummer when you're doing a lot of hoodies and you see that. Visually, it looks off to you. That's what happens when you put a hoodie on a 16 by 20, but when you put a hoodie on a 15 by 15, that kangaroo pocket hangs off the edge and you're only pressing on the surface of the actual hoodie and not on the pocket, not on the collar. Same thing goes for when you do size small and medium t-shirts. Size small and medium t-shirts usually go out to 15 inches across. Sometimes it's a little bit smaller depending on the blank t-shirt that you're using. So if you had to put size small or size medium t-shirt on a 16 by 20, you'll be pressing on the seams because you can't lay that smaller medium t-shirt across and make sure that the seams are over the edge where the actual sleeve meets the body of the shirt. You'll be pressing on that. So there are downsides to having a 16 by 20. A lot of people find this out later on and they're like, I'm just gonna get the 16 by 20. And they're like, I don't ever even do any big designs. I could have just dealt with a 15 by 15. But when you're buying the equipment, you're excited about buying the equipment and you start to overthink what you're doing, stop, don't overthink anything, be realistic with yourself and really understand what you're gonna be doing. And a bonus question people always wanna know, can I do 3X and 5X and blah, blah, blah on a 15 by 15? Yes. Like I said, the press size has nothing to do with t-shirt size. The press size only dictates your design size. That's all. You could throw 5X t-shirts on a 15 by 15, no problem. I do it all the time. No issues whatsoever. It's only about the design size, not the t-shirt size. I hope this information right here helps somebody out. I hope these questions right here help some people if they're in the heat press market to buy new equipment. But think about it like this. Do not let somebody like myself influence you on what you should buy. The equipment that I use works for me. The equipment that I use and choose to have in my shop check all the boxes for me. Heat presses I use, I need a slide out drawer because it makes pressing a lot easier. Being able to lay a transfer down from the top down and not working directly under the heat. It makes life easier, it makes life faster, and it makes life a lot safer so I'm not burning my knuckles. 2, auto open feature is a big deal for myself. It might not be for you. 3, reliability. That's a big one for myself. I want to make sure that the press is gonna fully function every time I turn that thing on. I don't want to have any issues. I don't want to have any cold spots. I don't want to have any pressure issues. I just want to turn it on and get to pressing. So the presses that I have in my shop work for me. These are the things that check the boxes for me in my shop. It doesn't mean what I say is the law. This is just what works for me. You have to think about what you want out of a heat press and what checks your boxes. If you wanted to see any information on any of the presses that I use, not to buy, but just to read up on and actually see price differences, function differences, shipping differences, all of that stuff is linked in the description for you guys. Remember, just because I use it doesn't mean it's the best. It doesn't mean you have to go out and buy it. It only means this is what works for me. This is what I'm sharing with you guys. You got to remember, there's content creators out there that get paid to talk about the equipment and the transfers and the blank t-shirts that they show you. So it's coming from a very, very biased opinion. You have to be able to see through the BS out here. You do not have to buy any of the equipment that I use. I'm just sharing with you guys what I use to help provide the information for you. Check it out. Like I said, the proof is in the pudding. I've been using Signature Series presses way before I got onto YouTube, and I still use it till this day with no issues. If you're talking about reliability, there it is. Over the years, same exact presses on my channel. If you guys got any questions about heat presses or anything related to heat presses, leave it in the comments for me. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Big Brando TV. That's where you can see a lot of videos of these heat presses in action. Same goes for TikTok, same goes for YouTube Shorts. All that information is on there for you guys in the short form world. You can find me on all those things under Big Brando. You'll see my logo, you'll see my dumbass face. Check out the information over there. All right, catch you guys on the next one, man. Yeah.